welcome back to Nightingale's Motorcycle Restorers and Metal Finishers. Right, long time this one coming again, because as I said, anyone new to the channel, they might not have seen us rabbiting on about different TLR 200s we do in workshop. So it's gonna be drawn out a little bit, this one, because I'm trying to put some bits together of what we actually do with our new builds, and how they start off, or if you've got a donor bike, and really how much you put into them at home as well, because no matter what you're in restoration or doing bikes at home, it's a fortune. You know, you might get a little bit off with trade, different places, but that's not the main thing. It's the big lumps internally, and then when you ship it out to everybody, it just adds up. So what I'm going to talk about first is TLR 200. So if you're the kind of person watching this video now will be who's into TLRs or into a bit of twin shock trials, and they'll be more interested. If you're coming in off the road sector, you might think, what the hell he's on about? It's only like when we had a bike in here a couple of weeks ago, Langham, number 24, the build. I think that was £46,000. You know, they sell them. There's a market out there in anything. This market's limited as usual. Any special builds are, because the twin shock series, so it's getting bigger, I think, and people have kind of got the new bikes and are coming back into this because it puts a smile back on your face. And then if they go back onto a certain machine they like, and a lot do like these Hondas, when you get them fettled right, they're mint. But there's nothing wrong with a lot of the old trials, twin shock trials. I mean, I like 200 Fantics, but I tend to think that I stick to one machine from the beginning and over the years, because otherwise I just run out of things and then I'll be on to the next one, and we're busy enough with everything else. So this is a more personal service. So I'm going to talk you through the start of it and see where you'd like to be, or if you're looking at building one or you've got a donor bike yourself. So we're like any of these old dinosaurs, which we're trying to bring out the best in them. And again, you'll only be looking if you've either got frame mods, or you're wanting frame mods, or want it to handle better. If you just want it to rag round the field, it won't make any difference. But if you're trying to build a new build, or you're buying parts, or you're getting actually us to do it from a new build, the idea is when somebody orders a new one, you're not just ordering a new bike really. We start from the basics of the frame, and then we're looking at the person. So we have two models, which is really, I've made plenty of notes over the months because I was going to put this video together. We have our kind of A model, which is a Velocity Pro, and we've got our B model, which is a Velocity Special. So I'm going to go through that in a bit just to say, but the main thing first is, you know, you're picking your bike. You might want it in colours, tanks, seat unit, mudguards, different coatings, ceramic coatings. As I say, it doesn't make any difference to me, but it means a lot to you, because you might have a rim in a black, you might have a hub in orange, or whatever. So if you're building something special, it's like any bike, whatever you like, you have it. You know, don't listen to anybody. So we're sticking on the TLs and the video on it, TLR 200s. So what we'll talk about first is the frame. So there'll be some more frames. These we've dug out from many years ago when we did different angles, and you can see old work on it, what we've kind of said and done, and how they originally come in with the original footrests on, and this hollow centre, which I'm going to talk about again in a minute and show you some pictures. I'll come back to that in a second. And then from there on, we're obviously modifying them to this, and then we'll put in the beta inserts on, and then modern footrests, so it looks cosmetically pleasing. And we're going deep up into this cut and strengthen it at the back as well. And then of course the difference in head angles, we've gone from different variants, from cutting head stocks, removing this, different angles of the actual head stock, the trail. And really I think what you're doing is you're getting the kind of, like when I go back to the Velocity Special over there, it was built, and everything on it was built for that customer, how he wanted it. and again the skill level. Now that model is fantastic for me, but for somebody who just wants a total bling and a little bit more, you go again with extras, and that puts the price up again. And it's like anything, it could be a banter, you never stop. You could start off with any frame, a Drayton frame at £2,500, wheels £1,000, headstock, all exhaust, all the rest of it. Before you know it, £7,000, £8,000, £9,000. Don't be surprised, because it is. You know, there's always a level with everything. So coming back to these frames, when we start and then we de-lug and everything, and times have changed as well. The idea of this video is that when I've said in the past, and I'm a bugger for it, saying, you know, I'll have these ready in so-and-so, producing these, and I haven't really done it too much. A few things have changed in the last couple of days, but it's not because it's getting the item ready for the shelf, because I'm only sticking to one model. The slice of the cake's very small, you see. Like for next year, I hopefully have, I think we've got a couple of bikes coming in a new build, and we'll only be in the position to take one or two more unbuilt bikes coming in, and people following it through, either putting a deposit down or a donor bike and then paying so much a month so it doesn't break the bank as such. But you can watch it, all photographic evidence, which is the fun of it. You're building your own bike, though we're building it in the workshop. And that again to my colleague who comes in, helps me, Nigel. You saw the Rothmans the other day, that's just gone out, bike's been taken in part exchange, that was his bike. All been done in the workshop between us, and two and I finish, that's the idea. And longevity and quality. So, coming back to the frames, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you, tell you about a couple of stories with these frames, and I'm going to show you some pictures of a customer's bike which went wrong, his own machine. So this customer has built his own TLR 200, and I must say he made a fantastic job of it. He brought it down to show me. He brings me a standard framing with the footrest like this. We're on a budget, like everybody is, and he's quite happy to have it stripped back, prepped, zinc coated, going to be in powder coating, and then top coated in red, then lacquered. And what I said to him was really about the frame mods, and he's a good rider, young lad, or younger man I should say. He said, well, what do you think about if I buy some add-on footrests which are available? And they're a good quality footrest when you look at them with a pinion. They go onto here and they extend it to bring this down. I said, well, yeah. I said, a few people have bought them that I know of, and I think they're done for a few bikes, but I haven't had a lot. I'm just going to say a few, maybe 3 or 4. And so what we did, I'll show you a picture of the bike frame as it comes in. So he's going to have the frame done like this, and he's going to bolt on. So what I suggested at the time was, why don't I, because they come in chrome or a zinc plated, why don't I powder coat them so when they go on they look like they're blended in. So I spent some time, as I do on the frame, and then zinced it, belt sanded it all, stripped it all, top coated it, then did the footrest in a colour for him, and they look really good. And he takes it away, goes to our local club after he'd spent all the time building it back up again, and he falls on a simple section, and the leverage on this bracket smashes the frame about here and rips it off. Quite an hefty break. New powder coated frame, new build bike, own build, but to a very good standard, right? Of course it's still on standard stock. It's got the front footrest modification. So I'm going to show you some pictures now of that new frame, well, new to me. Now, I didn't see any signs, obviously it's like we do in this one. You know, we know when we break into them, we see some, they've had water ingress in. we find kinds of all stuff in them, with big bitumen style, underseal, everything in them. But it's a real trap, is this. So when we cut into them, we find this is a softer area, but this is snapped off, so you can see the fatigue in it. So I'll show you the standard the frame was at now on a drop down of pictures, and I'll show you the brakes so you can have a good look. So now I've actually stopped recommending, because I could have, there's a bike I'm going to show you very shortly, a trading, which has got some on. Now, it's not my bike, it's been traded in against the Rothman's bike, but it's a lovely finished bike, but it's got some on. If it was going to be ever sold from here, it wouldn't be sold with them on anymore, because you could have bought it, I could have bought it, you know, and taken it out, just had one fall and snapped it off. It's devastating. If you went back to anybody, if someone had come back to me, I'd have been absolutely gutted to see any machine like that. So I'll show you them pictures now. So yeah, so quite bad. So what we actually did was, we either had a choice to, they've all had to be taken off again and stripped off. Does he go for the headstock and the footrest mod, and we cut in and do everything, but it was quite a bad break up the back, so it had to be double plated and everything. And then you're not really making a lot of money out of this kind of work when it's one about the only things apart from wheels I farm out. Because as I've said in videos, anything structural, we'll do the cuts and everything, but anything structural, I want a coded welder or a competent business which would do these modifications. So I had a frame in here ready for a TLR 200, which I'd done in chrome powder, and it was going to be one of my own machines. It was actually going on a machine in the workshop there, one of my own RS's, and I'd done that, and then it was ready, and he wanted a frame. So it was a frame like this, modified. It was all done on the headstock, and I stripped it back, took the old chrome powder off it, I zinced it and did it in gloss red, like stoplight red again, and lacquered it. So he got a frame out of it, and he had to do the job again and build it up. So it's a bit of a learning curve. So I had saying the quality of the brackets are fantastic. I think it could, especially with this kind of design of this hold on the frame, it's something to watch. So where I did say they're pretty good, and I'm still saying they're good quality, they're mint quality, it's just, it could happen to anyone was that. So we'd be away from that anyway, but just kind of highlighting it. So when we come back to the frames and say we de-lug one, we'll put it in a format of, once it's altered like this, de-lugged and everything, and a few things we do to them now. You may even have different plates in here with our logo on it. We then zinc coat them, because zinc coats the baseline, so then they look fresh. I could have trimmed one of these up and done, but these are ones we've actually got for sale as such. You zinc coat it, so your customer comes in or yourself comes in, and it's a good baseline. You've seen the frames I've done in that zinc lately, then clear coated it. You know, it's a nice colour. At least it's got the base coat, so then you could top coat in any colour you want, you know, white, the reds, or in January I might have this Repsol effect one, and I think we might go for like a slate grey, which I think is going to look quite good. But the zinc's a base coat, so the frame's modified and done in zinc, ready to, because you never know what colour anybody wants anything. Usually it's red or the whites, but I've done them in blue. So that's the baseline, the frame, and then knocked out on the old cups, ready for taper bearings. And we'd have also done a modification and checked the bushing of the free play in the swinging arm. And that's it, so that's what you'd see. That's what we're talking at, the level we'd start at. Unless you're bringing bikes in like this, where I'm doing engines or something, but we're on about a new build, built to your spec. So we'll move on to the next thing. So this is our B model, which is for sale. In fact, it may even go this weekend to a gent. We built this for a customer, to how he wanted it, to his skill level, how big he wanted the gear lever, footrest is standard. The engine's got one of our heads on it and been fully rebuilt, everything inside. Which when, if anyone's got a genuine interest, we'll talk you through that, what you actually get. And you also get photographic evidence of it all. That's before we get to any colours and finishes of the engines, as you've seen in the past. So, when I just go back to frames, the bike, I'm just going to show you now a quick picture. It's a customer's bike. As I say, it's my colleague's bike who helps with the TLRs, Nigel's, and it's coming part exchange, and it's the footrests on it. You can have a quick look down there now and see it onto it, and the modification. So while we're talking on footrests, if you want to have a look at, you see ours look with the beta backs on as usual and strengthened. If you look at my RS here, it's a different type, you know, been done, plated on. And then if we just come through, I know it's a bit of a thing showing you again, but and you look at this one. So this one close up. Different again, they've retained it and dropped it right down and gone a bit thin on there, but they've come over on a chamfer, so I guess they've probably recognised that. So in the workshop now we've got 1, 2, 3 different types and 4 on our own. So as the years as we've gone over, we've learned a lot. And when I say about I've got this coming up, I've got that coming up, you probably stop and think, right, times are changing. I can do something else, I can get this, I can get that done. So we'll start on the talk down of the bikes and the difference between the Pro and the Special, because that's going to be the kind of questions you want to ask again. So I'm starting off with the engines, TLR 200 engine. Now hopefully we're on a 65.5, we're on a standard bore. We're always trying to get them, you know, as I said to you before, we haven't got much on the liner. So we'll start off at the down below conrod mains, checking inside the cases to make sure we haven't lost any pieces of alloy or now it's gone round. Any end float, which we haven't had many with these, you know, but you're just checking anything. It could have been run dry completely and it might have damage where it's beyond. We're also matching 95%, mainly is a matching an engine frame number for registering them. Now this one isn't registered. He didn't want anything doing to it. He just wanted as it is. But I think the majority of the bikes, if they're registered with a matching an engine and frame number, I've said this as well when anyone brings an engine in, you know, you're trying to match things up. Oh, some people aren't bothered, but I think the way it's going now is we'll be matching engine and frame numbers, unless it's your own machine you was bringing in as a donor bike, you know, to for us to go at in standard format, or one that's had the usual little add-ons, exhaust, different bits, all bolt on bits, bolt on carbs, and really it's still, you're still not happy with it. It's like riding, it's like getting on a 25-year-old donkey with asthma. They're horrendous, majority of them. I always know because both my daughters just ride for fun for many years since they've been babies, and they get on one of these old school machines and they always have that look on their face and they actually have a go on them, and when they're done, you know, and you get the clutches nice and light and changes gear and you can actually start them, they go the passable, which is a big compliment really, because usually they just say I don't want to go anywhere near one of them old dinosaurs in case it lands on me. But yeah, you can make these a lovely bike. So The engines, after you've gone through that, all the bearings, gaskets, the kickstart mechanism inside, the clutch, maybe a clutch light and a clutch arm on it to make it a bit lighter. Check it right the way through and then work up through the barrel. One of our competition heads with double bearings and high lift cam, bigger valves, bit of stainless steel, bit of bling. Working on the standard type of carburettor on the original air filter boxes with a few modifications. The Velocity Pro A machine and the B machine like this will run the same running gear. The idea is been the same machine as well. If you want to upgrade to anything, you can just bolt them on yourself 9 times out of 10. But so you'll know your unit, your engine unit, is to the same standard. So they're both the same, and that will include the exhaust systems. Now this is for 26. There might be a little bit different in the finish. You might get on the B a modified one, new front pipe, a modified firebox, and it'll come out short on the stubs in here, a bit more trick. It'll be ceramic coated, and I'll have done some work in the box down below. They'll be standard. You'll never see again probably any of these, any of the ones you saw on the Rothman. There'll be our own finished exhaust with a little bit of mod in here. The A model may have an aluminium billeted one on, and the B might have a converted one, and the firebox and anything else has been gone into, but it'll still be a very tidy looking thing and will work. So you're not thinking you're down on power. Remember, you're trying to build this for somebody who, when you talk, you could be a fat lad, and I've just got to look there, I can't say fat lad. You may be a well-built guy or a skinny guy who eats a lot of pies, and you wait for your shock absorbers, your front end, the things you do more on a modern bike, because that's what we're trying to build these things to with the headstock, and then swinging arm modifications as well. There's the thing with the Pro model, the A model, you'll probably find you'll end up with a billeted swinging arm. You would even now on the B models, you'll end up with existing but extended swinging arm for taking in any tuck on here, your footrest done. So you'll still end up with its geometry right, but the engine will be the same and done to that standard, and everything replaced new in it. So we'll just go on to the front end of it now. So the front end, it's important to us because we'll put new stanchions in, again tapers, bearings in. The videos what's just gone, and I've gone on about fork legs and scarring and anything else, obviously new internals. It's important to us because when we pick the donor bike, we're looking at the casings like you've just seen on the last video. When you're building to something this standard, if you're bringing one into me, there's a good chance if the casings are all ragged up, then they won't be past here for finish, because you might want a polished finish, you might want a ceramic finish, you might want a powder coated finish. The idea is we don't want to lay these with loads of powder coating to hide marks and miss the Hondas. As I say, I'll just bring one in front again. If you haven't seen it on the last video, I've just cut one of these and polished it, then lined it out. It's on the actual video. So you know, you could be using nice casings, you could be doing your colours. So the engine and the format of all these things are the same when you're picking your bike and you're having your bike done. So just to go over that again, the engine will be the same unit. So what you're paying for on the Pro, so why is it different? The yokes will probably be the standard yokes on tapered, but they'll either be painted, ceramic coated, powdered or polished. The wheels, this bike came in as a donor bike and in your anodised gold, a bit like these here you see down here, usual Honda type. and we've taken them back, diamond grinded them, tubed the wheels up beforehand. And remember, if the ceramic coating like we do, we can still tweak them. So we've checked them for any spots or anything, and the condition, and then we've put them in a dry blaster, and then we prepared them for ceramic coat. So these were done in matte. So that would be the difference, because what you've got, obviously, you're ending up with brand new tyres, tubes. You haven't got a new rim, stainless steel spokes, and if any work needs doing to the hubs, because we check them. Now, under normal circumstances, you would run these hubs. If they're good, and obviously new shoes, springs, everything else, a bit thicker cables for pulling you up a bit, you will find them fine. On the Pro version, we might, if we're going to run to it, we might just run with a bigger hub at the back on a different size shaft, and then we look at other things where we're talking on different rims. But so that's basically your different. You're going straight up on billets. Billets again. I'll just pull one forward again. This is one I've shown before, and it's under another modification now, and we're still looking at that. There's no reason why it won't be coming through. It's just, it's again, we've altered the situation again. So working up through the bike and the colour scheme, that's your choice, which will have other flagged up colours. Now, I've done solid tanks, I've done the tanks with aluminium in, and I think this one what's just been brought in now, I think this configuration of this tank and seat unit, it looks fantastic. I always like them because we're trying to make them look every time the part. So something on these, they're always good quality these. Everyone who makes these aftermarket bits and that are good. And the guys in my field who build these bikes around the country, never seen a bad one yet. They all do them to a good standard. Like your man who build Bantams or Fantics, they're all good in the field. They're the stuff usually. So when you pick the like that and you look at it, and then you start to flare off, where I say the mud guards will come down, you know, we can flare them up now like the 4RT. Then the graphic kit, which is done through here, and we've had a couple of these bikes, well, a few of these bikes have gone out under different things because they're just built, and then we've had different stickers on them. As I say, the new ones will be logoed up as Velocity Pro, and then the idea is that we'll have the build number on it, on the frame, on the plate at the other side, and you'll be able to get decals off us as well. I think it's down for a spare set of decals, so in the event of you catching it or smashing a mud guard, it'll come with it. So working back through the bike, from the brakes, tyres, mud guards, choice of fat bars, thin bars, preference, which will fit on the triple clamps. Some people still like the thinner ones. On the modern yokes, you fit the fat or the slim, it doesn't matter. Then new throttle bodies, bit of a change on the throttle bodies maybe into 26, because we still find, you know, we still like these on a slow action throttle. And back to engine, I like a standard flat top piston. I don't go for any high compression stuff. Just for me, over the years of slow sections, not a rider by the way, I watch people riding and watch people who are good riders on these, and you watch suspensions and front ends dipping, and again weight. The configuring, you won't have any difference between the two models. The great thing is as well, we're not a production line, we're a finishing shop, so I'm busy all the time with all the other stuff in the workshop, as you've seen on all the videos. So these are a personal thing, one-to-one. You can come in the workshop, make an appointment some Saturday mornings if you haven't got the time, and fire stuff across and see how your bill's coming on. So it doesn't matter if you live at the other side of the country, you'll have plenty of pictures, and as each stage of it will be documented to you. So again, quality bars, cables, all the rest of it, grips, graphics, spare set of graphics, and then the quality of the shock absorbers. Some people have never adjusted a shock absorber in their life on a new bike, been a monoshock or twin shock. So other guys want shocks that could reservice, which is right. So you're always floating about a couple of £100 difference for some premium to some cheaper ones, but some good cheaper ones. As again, the higher spec model will have obviously higher spec shock absorbers on it. So it's like the man who buys a 4RT, a Repsol. He probably, like me, would just ride it and he loves it because of the colour. Or doesn't like it. I had one, I think I've had two, and a bit twitchy for me. But we know what they go like, but it's just what they look like. A lot of things we buy because we like the look of them. So we'll move on to the next bit and just see where we're at this stage. So any old-fashioned or Honda HRC type colours, it's surprising what we can get, or the colours you want. I mean, seems to be a lot of these slaty greys lately. So again, ceramic coating. People ask the question in ceramic coating, is it as hard as powder coating? Well, I personally think, like anything what has chafing and mud and clay, brand new bike, you will put some sleeves on everything. Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. It's how good that substrate is. It's a conversation in the early days, because if we've got really bad substrate, even though I belt sand all these and take them back, no matter if it's a powder coating, you need perfection really, or it just doesn't look right, especially on swinging arms. So the majority, I would say, are powder coat and zinc, and I might do a bit different on the fork bottoms and the clamps and put a more stealthy colour on, but that's the idea. You know, like I think we're going to have this one in probably January with already picking out a couple because the tank will be a bit different. But I like them tanks, they'll make it look good. So the video's about, well, when people say bloody hell, it's a child's bike, but all these bespoke bikes are, you get your bike at home, and I said it earlier, you start stripping it down and all the boring bits, like it needs a crankshaft and bearings, and you might only have a shed, you might only have a garage, you might be in a flat, you know, you might not have the tools or certain knowledge, or friends who have knowledge to help you out. We'll always help you out here if you buy anything and you give me a shout. You know, I'd rather you just did one thing at a time. You know, everybody wants one of these heads, but you've just got to do like we're doing with the little Honda in there. Just get it running right first, and then that's how we build them. So we know a lot of things are proven, so once it's proven in concrete, we keep it at that. We don't want to go down Fantics or anything else, because we wouldn't be as knowledgeable. Leave it to the people who just specialise in them. I mean, I've had Fantics for 30 years, but I wouldn't think I'm not anything special on Fantics. A little bit of porting maybe, and the majority of that's been copied, as everything's copied. Early days with race bike engines, you know, you whip the barrels off and you copied the porting. Different techniques of porting before rolling roads were around. So yeah, so two models, logoed up, building for longevity, working right the way through that everything's been replaced. On the Pro model, it obviously will go into stainless steel bolts throughout the machine, and anything we might lose a little bit on weight somewhere, but we'll be talking minimal. And then of course, if you've got your own ideas, you know, you might be a competent rider who wants one adapting to them, it's not a problem. And I think if you want to go any further with this, and give me a call, if you're in that market, you could have a chat, because the standard format seems to be that someone's buying them at the moment, or people are buying them for, and let's just swing from £2,000 to £3,500, probably with a fiberglass tank with seat unit on it. it looks pretty good. And then they get it back home and it's doing all the other things, and it's pretty horrible to ride. And they throw another £2.5 grand at it without even blinking, and it's hard to believe. And it's still probably not right. It's probably not right. Or they fall out with it. We all do it. This is what I've said with restoration. When you go through the gearboxes, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I've ridden new bikes, brand new bikes. I had a Beta, the Techno in the early days, like the blue and gold one, on the old school frame. And I only had it about 6 hours, and it actually did lock up, and I got the bike exchanged from a company, Keithley way, you know, that way, and no problem, and it was a fault on it. But you ride a bike and you're changing down, you feel whirring noises and rattles, and we all do it, you know, through the head. And what turns out to be a really smooth bike, it's something annoying. It's either, you know, it could be a clutch side, it could be a main side, the top end, mainly on the 2-strokes rattling away, and smoking on the old 4-strokes. But bomb-proof, proven engine these, and when they do run and they're ticking over and they're lovely, they're a pleasure to ride. So as I said, I think if you're thinking of something new and you've got the bike, no matter what it's like, we could have a look at it, because I will be looking at the casings, the finning and everything else, and seeing what kind of life it's had. A lot of the imported, I've had a fair few of the imported ones in, and they always seem mint, but I've had them with 35,000 mile on them, done all tolerance checks on them, they're amazing. Again, if people have just kept the cam chain, the valves right, tappets, you know, and fresh oil in them, service intervals, and they haven't just been sucking grit into the bore or done anything silly here, you know, exposing it to all the nasties. So on this one, that's the TLRs, the 2 ranges. As I say, none of these boys who build these, they haven't got a production line. They're like fallback work, and you have a day in the workshop and you go, right, parts have come, we'll get the front end done, the engine built, you see it being built, you see everything being built from scratch. So it's probably an update just to tell you where we are with these. It won't appeal to everybody, but I think most of the people like the idea that they can come and see us, have plenty of pictures, and why not put your own how you want it. You can do anything with the graphics. We can change the colour schemes, can have repainted again, but some of these fiberglass tank seat units, especially these narrower ones, I've had lots of these, but it's choice, and build it for yourself, build it out what you want, and keep a bike which will last you. And you know, it's not just you've got the paperwork documentation for it, what's actually been built with it, and video evidence. And if you come to sell it, I think we would probably stand a better chance of selling it, even if you fall out with it, or just put it in your front room or in your man cave. So till the next one, 01723 370 399, Scarborough, North Yorkshire. And if you need to speak to me at any time, best after 3 o'clock, or you can send me an email. Again, if you've got anything or one you've got in the garage, or you're thinking of getting into it, the Twin Shot boys and all the events and that, they're all very helpful, no matter if you like your British sector or your, you know, they all give plenty away on tips and that, I think. And if you need anything else, give me a shout. Till the next one, thanks very much.